Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hatha Yoga. We had a request, multiple requests for some physical postures to help relieve tension all throughout the legs today, so that we built into our asana practice. Let's begin in a comfortable seat. Just grounding yourself here by doing what you need, looking around the colors and textures of your space that you're in. Feeling a sense of physical grounding by pressing downward into the surface that your body is touching. Another grounding technique, this is an interesting one for self-regulating and calming your nervous system, is to actually place your hands on your forearms and just give them some loving squeezes up and down your arms. Just another way of getting yourself into embodied presence. As we know, our minds can take us to many places. Even setting your left hand on the middle of your chest, your right hand on your lower abdomen, if that helps you to now connect even more to what's happening inside. We've been talking throughout this week about Ishvara Pranidhana, the practice of devotional surrender or offering up of one's actions or fruits of their actions to whatever you might understand by the word divine. Here's something from an article written by Helen Avery, and it's called Ishvara Pranidhana, Surrender to Love. As devoted of yogis as we may be, we often carry with us an expectation of something in return for our dedication. We want results, we want peace, joy, love, we want to be better human beings, we want to be healed, we want the boons. How many of us can say we would keep returning to the meditation cushion or the yoga mat if we hadn't felt our bodies opening and our hearts responding? The gentle voice in the Yoga Sutras that began with ahimsa, saying, let go of who you think you are and become who you truly are, has now become a roar. Ishvara Pranidhana is unshakable faith and devotion. If we want to experience our divine nature, we have to surrender our ego nature. Through this act of surrender, we give up all the ways in which false beliefs are expressing themselves in the world through our thoughts, emotions, and actions. We surrender the you're right, you're wrong, I'm right behaviors that have driven our experience of life. And instead, we see that everything is one. So how do we practice Ishvara Pranidhana? We start saying yes. All the worrying, the striving, the thoughts of how we must do this and must achieve that, the judging and the complaining, that's our mind saying no to what is. When we surrender, we instead bring the energy of yes to the moment. That person who jumps ahead of us in line and makes us mad. In the words of spiritual teacher Brent Haskell, we say, yes, thank you for reminding me that I still think we are separate. As Eckhart Tolle says, surrender is the simple but profound wisdom of yielding to rather than opposing the flow of life. It is not weakness to yield. We will still vote. Rather, we let our heart determine our choices instead of our minds. Indeed, when we start to practice Ishvara Pranidhana, we ask in every moment, as Advaita Zen Master Muji teaches, divine, replace me with you. Perhaps you're by now closing your eyes if you feel comfortable to do so, inviting a deeper inhalation as you draw in that vital life force into every cell of your body. We also call that prana. That's why breathing techniques are called pranayama. Exhaling through the mouth, making any sound, a vibratory sound, maybe om or a hum. Drinking up a fuller breath in, pouring it to the very tops of your lungs and down into the pit of your belly, graciously feeling life force through the breath. And maybe even louder a sound, ha. Once more, inhaling through all ends, expand your body sideways, front and back, up and down, through many dimensions with the breath. Visualizing it. Feel that fullness. And then again, maybe an even louder sound, let it go, ha. Joining your hands together at your heart. What do you dedicate the fruits of your actions to in this moment, in this hour and 10 minutes? Bring a sense of fervor to that dedication. Let's put through sound with one chant together of Om. Take a deep breath. Breathing in through your nose and sustaining your breath out through your nose. Begin to focus on equalizing the length of in-breath and out-breath, where you fully expand belly and lungs as you take it in, and you fully empty. So your lungs and belly act like an accordion, a bellow, as we come into bellows breath, Bhastrika Pranayama. For those of you that want to add a physical movement to that breathing practice, we begin with the elbows bent to the sides, hands like fists, spine tall, shoulders relaxed, and then we inhale, raise the arms straight, fingers spread, and we exhale, rebend the elbows and refist the hands, sort of like this. It's a bit quicker style of breathing because you're drinking it all in and then you're letting it all go just through the nose. So I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for 1 minute of bellows breath. Ready? Begin. Cleansing your lungs. Clearing any clouds in the mind. And revitalizing your energy. Last 20 seconds. And relax. Begin to lengthen your breath in a more sustained fashion in and out through your nose. And still closing your mouth, now add a gentle whispering sound by softly narrowing the back of your throat, using what's called Ujjayi Pranayama to continue to warm your body up, steady your focus through sound, relax your nervous system. So feeling the breath entirely fill up and entirely release. Please make your way into downward facing dog. Come onto hands and knees, spread your fingers flat on the earth, and then tuck your toes, lift your hips back. And then allow a moment to move around any way that feels good for you to establish space in downward facing dog. So that space throughout your spine, maybe by gently shaking your head and making sure your neck is not carrying any blockages of tension. And then space throughout the backs of your legs. Pedaling your feet in place perhaps, and maybe even swiveling your hips left and right as you do that. You might even like to raise a leg, shake it out up into the sky. or circle it out gently, lubricating your hip joint. Exploring here for about 5 more cycles of breath while I fix my microphone. Now feel how you're establishing a sense of grounding here in downward facing dog. As you're spreading your fingers flat, can you find a very slight essence of gripping through your fingertips? Just a little bit of gripping through the fingertips. You remove the weight from the wrists, and then feel the base of your thumb and index fingers. Can you root that down? And then bring your gaze up to your arms as you lengthen them. Spiral the outer sides of your upper arms towards the ground. Open up across the shoulders. Drop your head. And then bend your knees generously here in downward dog, lifting your tailbone as high as you can while drawing your sitting bones as far back behind you as you can. See how much you can feel a stretch in your back by doing this. Continue to lift your hips that high. And now begin to press the fronts of your thigh bones, the very top front of your thigh bones towards your rear wall. Now that might cause your knees to straighten a bit, but if you need to bend them in order to prevent rounding your back, bend them any degree. Let your heels become heavier and heavier. Now holding still for 3 more breaths. See that your feet are about hips distance apart, parallel. Now on your next inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Bending your right knee, turn open at your right hip. And let's take a few breaths of circling your right leg at your hip socket. Going in both directions, and all the while be mindful of establishing a squaredness of your shoulders. Drawing your left outer hip back so you're not shrinking the left side of your body. Then re-extend your right leg behind, take a deep breath in. Rounding forward, bend your right knee towards your nose so that you can quietly land the right foot forward outside of your right hand. And then grab your blocks here if the ground feels too low to place your hands on as we come into lizard lunge, a high lizard lunge, meaning your back knee is off the floor. So know that your right foot is a little more off to the right side. Both hands are inside of it. In this wider version of lizard lunge, bend your front knee to stack just over the heel, facing forward. And as you inhale, coil your chest up here. Peel your shoulder blades down and look up. Keep your right heel where it is and curl up your right toes, flexing the foot as you exhale to draw your right hip back, to some degree straightening the right leg as you bow right inside of it. Let's keep this going. Inhale, rebend your right knee. Coil your chest up. Exhale, scissor your right hip back, bowing in. 5 more breaths. Inhale, lunge, coiling the chest. Exhale, scissor and fold, long spine. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, scissor and fold. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, scissor, fold. Breathe in to lunge. Breathe out to fold. From here, returning to your lunge, set your left foot outside of your left hand, coming to stand at the top of your mat. You can put the blocks on the outsides for a moment here. Coming into a wider version of a forward fold, slightly wider than hips width. Parallel your feet. Press down onto the floor or blocks ahead of you. And inhale, draw your chest through your upper arms, lengthening your spine. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Firming down through your feet, inhale, sweep your arms apart to rise up and stand. Watching your palms meet. Take hold of your left wrist with your right hand. And then exhale, sideways bend to your right. Hugging your belly towards your back. Inhale, rise to center, switching hands. Catch hold of your right wrist. Exhale, side bend to your left. Drawing your navel in, inhale, rise up. Imagine your arms like a cactus. Bend your elbows apart and coil your chest up. Melt your shoulder blades down. Anchor your tailbone towards between your heels. Inhale, raise your arms straight, palms together. Exhale, hinge forward, maybe bending the knees. Press the ground or your shins. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Stepping back, downward facing duck. Spreading through your fingertips, wrapping your triceps towards the earth. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Bending your left knee, begin to rotate your left thigh bone at the hip socket on your own. Moving slowly to your own breath and switching directions. Feel a balance of weight through both palms as you lift both shoulders up, freeing both sides of your neck. Sending your right hip back rather than shrinking the right side body. Inhale, extend your left leg straight again. Rounding forward, contract your belly, knee towards nose. Softly land your left foot outside of your left hand, coming into a high lizard lunge. Again, grab your blocks if that's useful to place your hands on. Both hands are inside of your left foot. Left knee is bent right over the heel. As you stay high in the ball of your right foot, a deep breath in, coil your chest up. Look up. Exhale, scissor your left hip back, curl off the ground to flex. Straightening your left leg any amount to fold inside of. Inhale, rebend your front knee. Peel your chest up towards the sky. Exhale, scissor back, straightening as you fold. Inhale, lunge, 5 more cycles of breath. Exhale, scissor and fold. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, scissor and fold. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, scissor and fold. Inhale, lunge. And exhale, scissor and fold. Coming back to a lunge this time, take your choice of landing at the front of your mat in a squat. Option 1, stepping right foot outside a right block. Use your blocks to create a stool to sit on. Option 2, let your pelvis hover off the ground if that's available for you in your body right now. Either way, use your arms, perhaps elbows bent apart, to gently splay open your inner thighs, perhaps joining your hands at your heart in prayer. Now feel the ground with your feet, firming down into it. Tailbone lengthens towards the ground. Lift your frontal hip bones, lift your chest, lift the back of your skull. And as you broaden your chest, soften your shoulder heads down for 2 more breaths. Recentering on the dedication for your practice. Take a deep breath in, firm down through your feet, put the blocks aside if you're sitting on them, and exhale, rise like an elevator to stand. Heel toe your feet hips width apart. Inhale, circle your arms overhead. This time interlace your fingers inside out. Exhale to your left, side bend. Inhale, rise to center. To your right, exhale, side bend. Inhale, rise to center. Hook your thumbs like an eagle. And exhale, coil your chest up. Draw the tailbone towards your heels. Gaze up. Bend your knees slightly as you exhale to bow. Now, as your feet are apart hips width, place your fingertips either on the floor in front of them or on blocks. Step your right foot across in front of your left foot so it lands on the left side of your mat. Put a slight bend in your right knee, keeping your left leg straight without locking the knee. Shift your weight forward and inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, bow a little deeper. Let's stay here for about 5 breaths in this forward fold. Can you feel where your left glute attaches to your left hamstring at the back of your left thigh? Send your breath there and then paint it down the back of your left leg to your calf, your Achilles tendon, to your heel. Softening your neck, softening your jaw. Last 2 breaths. Plant your fingertips on the ground or blocks in front of you. Inhale, rise halfway. Uncross your right foot over to the right and switch the left foot to cross in front of your right foot to land towards right edge of your mat. Put a bend in your left knee. Keep your right leg straight without locking the knee. And inhale, lift your chest, rise halfway. Now feel the lengthening from the sides of your waist, from armpit to outer hips. Keep all of that length as you fold in. A little deeper, breath by breath. Bring your mind's eye to the back of your right leg where your glute meets your hamstring. Deeply breathe into there and paint the breath down your hamstring, your calf, your Achilles tendon, your heel, up and down the back of your right leg. Two more breaths. Set your fingertips in front of you. Inhale, rise halfway, uncrossing left leg over to the left. Exhale, step back into plank pose. Take a few breaths to establish integrity in this posture. Stacking shoulders over wrists, lifting navel towards spine, legs straight or knees on the ground. As you extend your chest forward to broaden, gaze on the floor ahead of your hands and take one more inhalation. Gliding your shoulders a foot ahead of your wrists, exhale. Bend your elbows to hug your side ribs through Chaturanga Dandasana, coming all the way to the ground. Plant your feet on the earth and inhale, peel your chest lightly off the floor in baby cobra. We're going to take this a few times. Exhale, slowly lower chest and chin. Keep firming down to your toenails. Inhale, draw your shoulders further back, maybe a little higher in cobra. Exhale, lower chest and chin. Tops of your feet actively pressing the floor. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. This time pause. At least 3 deep breaths. Shoulder blades moving down your back. Inner thighs spiraling towards the sky. Every toenail grounded. When you're ready to exhale, lift your hips. Come back to downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths. Bring your feet together in downward facing dog. Turn out your right thigh bone at the hip. Flex your right foot. Cross your right ankle either in front of your left shin, not on the knee, or in front of your left thigh, above the knee. Pressing down through your palms, lift your sitting bones evenly behind you and equal the length in both sideways. A few more breaths here. Externally rotating your right thigh at the hip. Feel the strength of your belly lifting to support your spine. Take another deep breath. Exhale, bend your right knee towards your nose, step the foot right between your hands, and spin your back heel down to Warrior Two. Inhale, cartwheel your arms to rise up. Warrior Two, wrap your right outer hip under. Stack your front knee right over the heel facing forward in line with your middle toe. Press down through both feet, and let's take a little vinyasa flow here. Inhale, straighten your right leg, sweep your palms face up to touch. Exhale, return to warrior two. Inhale again, rise and lengthen as you ground. Exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale, rise, and exhale, root down. 2 more breaths. Inhale, rise, and exhale, root down. Last one, breathe in, and exhale, warrior two. From here, another flow. Keep wrapping your right sitting bone under. Glide your pelvis towards your rear foot as you reach your right arm straight ahead past your right knee. Placing your right forearm on your right thigh, gently press off of it. Reach your left arm towards the sky. Then spiral your left tricep to face your left wall. Sweep your left arm overhead towards your rear wall and draw your navel towards your spine. Side angle pose. Breathe in. Exhale, rise through warrior two and do the reverse. Flip your right palm towards your rear wall, leaning to the left, peaceful warrior. Inhale again, side angle pose. Draw navel towards spine. Exhale, reverse, peaceful warrior. 3 more cycles of breath. Inhale, side angle pose. Exhale, peaceful warrior. Inhale, side angle. Exhale, peaceful warrior. From here, inhale, lower your hands to plank pose. Taking it through a vinyasa, exhale forward and through chaturanga dandasana. Choose cobra or upward facing dog, deep breath. Exhale, downward facing dog for a few breaths. Feel the front creases of your hips. Press them up and back. And set your feet together in downward facing. Turn out your left thigh at the hip and flex your left foot to stabilize the knee. Cross your left ankle either in front of your right shin, below your knee, or above your knee onto your right thigh. Splaying your left thigh further open, lift your 2 sitting bones evenly back. Few breaths. Keep spiraling triceps towards the floor, softening shoulders up, away from your neck. Belly strong here. Take another breath in. Exhale, bend your left knee towards your nose. Gently step your left foot between your hands. Spin your right heel down. Warrior two. Inhale, cartwheel your arms to rise up. So establish that full turnout of your left thigh at the hip. Wrap the sitting bone underneath. Stack your front knee over your front heel to align with the middle toe. From top of your right thigh bone towards the left wall. Then root down through your feet and inhale, straighten your front leg. Raise your palms to touch overhead. Exhale, back to warrior two. Flowing to your breath. Inhale, rise. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, rise. Exhale, warrior two. Maintaining that integrity of alignment of left knee and middle toe. Inhale up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale up. All the while there's a lift in your pelvic floor. Exhale, warrior two. Now staying in warrior two, keep wrapping left sitting bone under. Draw the crease of your left hip towards the rear edge of your mat while reaching your left arm past your left knee. Place your left forearm on your left thigh to push off of. Right arm towards the sky. Spiral your right tricep towards your right wall, then reach your right arm overhead. Navel drawing in, side angle pose. Take a deep breath. Exhale, rise to warrior two. Flip your left palm to face up. Reverse this into peaceful warrior. Inhale back to side angle pose. Exhale, reverse, peaceful warrior. 3 more breaths. Inhale, side angle pose. Exhale, peaceful warrior. Inhale, side angle. Exhale, peaceful warrior. Last round, inhale, side angle. Exhale, peaceful warrior. Inhale, touch the ground in plank pose. Take a full vinyasa of your choice or take a few rounds of cat-cow. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Resetting your breath. Realigning with your intent. Downward facing dog. Inhale, glide forward into plank pose again. Bring your feet together to touch. Firm your heels back. Lengthen your tailbone towards your inner heels. Begin to roll onto the outer edge of your left foot, flexing your 2 feet for side plank. Option to step your right foot just in front of you towards the right edge of your mat like a kickstand, adding more support. Otherwise, stack your feet. Either way, raise your right arm up. Lift your left hip away from the ground and breathe. Remember when I described the palms in downward dog in the beginning with that little bit of grip towards the fingertips? There's a little bit of air at the center of the palms. Find that here. Draw your left shoulder blade down your back. Lengthen crown of your head towards front wall. Tailbone, inner heels towards rear wall. And then expand from heart center across your wingspan. Last breath. Vashisthasana. Sweep your right arm overhead. Child's pose, plank pose, or straight to downward dog. You choose. Lion's breath. Take a deep inhale. Stick out your tongue. Let out a sound. Let it go. Inhale, come forward. Plank pose. Bring your feet to touch. Roll onto the outer edge of your right foot. Flex your feet. Option to step left foot in front of you like a kickstand. Otherwise, both feet stay flexed. Raise your left arm towards the sky. Lift your right hip away from the ground and feel that your left hip bone is stacked right above the right hip bone. Draw your right shoulder blade down your back ribs. Can you feel a rebound, the sense of rooting down to rise up? Last 2 breaths. We talked about dedicating challenging postures to something higher than us. That might be an inspiration. Sweep your top arm overhead. Take it through child's pose, vinyasa, cat-cow, or straight to downward dog. Meet there. Slowing your breath down again. From here, walk your hands back slowly towards your feet, arriving at the rear of your mat in Uttanasana. Bend your knees any amount needed to come into Padahastasana, stretching your outer wrists. Lift your toes, slip your palms face up under the soles of your feet. Try to get the toes to meet the inner creases of your wrists, really offering a stretch there. Shift your weight forward and inhale, draw your heart through the gates of your arms. Keep that length in your spine as you exhale to fold in. Now, if possible, bend your elbows apart here. Do try to lift your shoulders away from your neck as you completely drop your skull. Let's take that half fold once again. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fold and release your neck. A few breaths. Maybe this time offering your jaw some release by fluttering your lips. Slip your palms out from underneath. Heel toe your feet closer together to touch. Bend your knees together to touch. Chair pose. From here, join your hands at your heart. Turn out your right thigh at the hip. entering Eagle Garudasana. As you cross your right leg over the left, wrapping it as much as possible here, you might be able to tuck your right toes behind your left calf. It's okay if it doesn't. You may want to flex the foot. By gently scissoring your right hip back, realign your 2 hip bones to evenly face your front wall. Then now the arms, cactus bend your elbows apart, crossing left elbow over right. Give yourself a hug, hook your thumbs, or wrap your forearms and palms. Sending your shoulders down as you lift your elbows to the height of your shoulders. What provides you a feeling of steadiness, centeredness, and connection here? Let's take 2 last breaths. Now really drawing in that feeling tone of freedom that can be symbolized by flight. Take a deep inhale, lift your elbows a little higher, spread your wings, let it all go. And then come to feet together in mountain pose, pausing to just observe what's here now. Side 2, bring your feet to touch. Bend your knees together, touch. Sink towards your heel chair. Join your hands at your heart. Now shifting your weight onto your right foot, turn out your left leg from the hip. Wrap your left leg over the right as much as possible on this side. Whether flexing left foot or tucking the toes behind right calf. Align your 2 hip bones to as evenly as you can face forward. See if you can sit a little lower. With the arms bent apart, cross right elbow over left. Hugging yourself, hooking your thumbs, or wrapping forearms and palms. As you release your shoulders down to free up your neck, lift your elbows to the height of your shoulders. Now feel your center. That area literally just a couple inches below your belly button. Perhaps imagine a light there emanating from within you. A warm color that offers a feeling of self-nourishment. Can you draw on that sense of inner stability? Now bring yourself to flight in the freedom tone of it. Take a deep breath in, lift your elbows a little higher. Exhale, unravel and expand. Letting it go. Mountain pose, a few breaths to notice. Separating your feet hips width apart here. Bring your hands behind you to interlace your fingers, or you can grab a strap, hold it between your hands. As you inhale, coil your chest up, draw your navel towards your spine. And as you exhale, bend your knees and fold forward. Letting your head hang freely, maybe softly moving it. Keep your hands together and stretch them forward away from your lower back, opening the front of your shoulders. As you lift your shoulders away from your ears, begin to straighten one leg completely as you bend the opposite knee. Lean your torso towards the outside of your straight leg. Take a deep breath in. Making any sound, open your mouth. If your hands are clasped, switch the interlacing of the thumb and index finger on top. Then the opposite knee. Straighten the other leg. Lean your torso to the outside of your straight leg. Arms reaching forward, neck relaxed. Take a deep inhale. Any sound, let it out. Release your arms. Crawl your hands forward to plank pose. Oh, happy plank. We're back. So here, bring your feet to touch again. Hug your outer hips towards your midline. Imagine you're balancing a delicate feather, a long one, across your lower back. And you don't want it to fall off to the right or fall off to the left. You want to keep your two hips even so that feather stays balanced. Draw your navel in. Now, as you do that, bring down your elbows to come into forearm plank. Making sure they land right under your shoulders. Press your heels back. Draw your sternum forward, gazing just past your thumbs. Inhale. Exhale, 3, softening shoulders back. Inhale. Exhale, 2, drawing the belly in. One more breath. Exhale, gently lower your knees, your pelvis into Sphinx pose. In Sphinx, slide your ankles as close together as you can so we can give our quadriceps some love. Cross your left forearm on the ground just in front of your chest. Bend your right knee and backstroke your right arm. Give our inner right shoulder some love. With your right hand, reach for the inside, that's the big toe side of your right ankle or foot. Then bring your right heel just gently and slightly to the outside of your right hip. Ground your 2 frontal hip bones and broaden your chest to face forward, relaxing your shoulders down. Let's take about 5 more breaths here. Now, if this option is available, you could spin your right wrist so that your fingertips of your right hand are pointing at the front edge of your mat. This brings more sensation into your right quadriceps, stretches the top of your right foot, which can also stretch the front of your right shin. Last 2 deep breaths. Gently release, come back to Sphinx pose. Slide your ankles close together again. Then cross your right forearm in front of your chest. Bend your left knee and backstroke left arm so you catch the big toe side of left ankle or foot. Bring your left heel slightly to the outside of your left hip, turning your chest completely to face forward. Relax your 2 shoulders down. 5 more breaths. See if it might be an option here to rotate your left hand at the wrist so that the fingertips are facing the front edge of your mat. Adding more sensation into your left quadricep and perhaps adding sensation into your left shin, front of the ankle, top of the foot. One more deep breath. And let it go. Set your forehead to the earth. Scoot your knees close together. Now putting the 2 sides together in bow pose or Dhanurasana. Bending both knees. Reach back with your hands to catch your outer feet this time. Kick your legs towards straight. Feet no wider apart than hips distance. And pull your feet towards your glutes using counter forces to lift your knees off the ground. Coil your chest up and soften your shoulders down. 5 or more deep breaths, your count. Once you've let it go, you may like to make a pillow for your forehead out of your forearms and either pigeon toe your feet as you rest for a few breaths, or windshield wiper your shins left and right, helping to loosen your lower back. Deep breath into your abdomen here, massaging it against the ground. Exhale deeply through your lips. One more time. Set your hands alongside your floating ribs. Press up to hands and knees. And we're going to quads just a little more love in Virasana. So as you come to sit on your shins, here are some options for Virasana. You could put a block or a couple of blocks right between your ankles, like a stool, elevating your pelvis. You could have no block and you're sitting on your calves. You could move your calves gently aside and sit on the floor in between your ankles. Either way, make sure your toes are pointing back. They're not turned out to the sides, and that's to keep your knees safe. And that your knees are not wider than hips width apart. Now, staying here, you could start to walk your hands behind you, maybe begin to lean your torso back. And if you're going backwards into a reclined hero's pose or Supta Virasana, be aware of any sensations in your lower back. You want to maintain space there by visualizing your tailbone anchoring towards the ground ahead, lengthening towards the space between your knees, which in turn allows your frontal hip bones to lift slightly towards your lowest front ribs. We're here for about 10 deep breaths, just giving it some time, giving your body some breathing or some loving breaths to help open up and relax. Some of you might be lying all the way back onto the ground, and if you are, you could also catch hold of opposite elbows overhead if that's available for you. Taking a few breaths with one elbow on top and then switching elbows. Let's take one more deep breath right where you are. When you finish and are ready to come out, take a few breaths coming out, especially if you're lying all the way back. Take your time to rise slowly. And before we straighten the legs out, we're going to do one more thing here for the shin. So come back to sitting on your calves and take one hand to peel that knee, the same side knee, gently off the floor. Now you might be feeling this more in the top of your foot or the front of your ankle, but if you have shin splints or anything like that, you might feel it there. So just be gentle and breathe. And then release to switch sides. And then gently release that. Swing your legs in front of you. We're going to open up the legs towards a straddle in a variation of Upavishta Konasana. So grab whatever props you may have that are like pillows or blocks so that you have more options here. Maybe even a blanket. And then as you place your hands behind your pelvis, flex your feet, lift your pelvis, and with your feet flexed, see if you might be able to bring your pelvis a little more forward and then root down your sitting bones. And then with your hands cupping the tops of your thighs, encourage an external rotation of your thighs. So the sitting bones further draw back and down and the frontal hip bones slightly lift. So again, it's that bowl shape of your pelvis becoming a little more upright. Now containing your center, a little drawing in of navel to spine. Here's where you might put a pillow or block just in front of your pelvis as you begin to walk your hands forward, breath by breath. So you want to keep your knees and your toes pointing up here rather than rotating them forward. Now you might have tower blocks to place your forehead on. Maybe you have a big pillow that you're giving a bear hug. Going to be here for about 10 deep breaths. Now, since we're hoping to lengthen the hamstrings as well as the groins and the hips here, it may help to gently flex your quadriceps. So those are sort of the partner muscles to the hamstrings. Those of you that are folding forward, can you feel an open space at your throat so that you're not closing off your breath passageway? Scan your upper body and how it might be reacting or responding to your hip opening posture. Again, walk your hands closer to your pelvis, lifting at your chest with a long spine. Inhale to slowly rise up. And please bring your hands to your outer thighs so that you can bend your knees up and slide your legs close together, preparing for a seated twist. So as I mirror you here, keeping your left leg forward, step your right foot either just in front of your right hip here, or cross your foot outside of your left knee, or also bend your left knee. Press down through the sole of your right foot and your two sitting bones, and then feel as you breathe in a lengthening through the center of your spine. And with shoulders relaxed, backstroke your right hand to the ground behind your pelvis. Raise your left, exhaling, twist to your right. Now you can continue to hold your right knee with your left hand, or you could add the leverage of hooking your left elbow outside your right thigh. And if you're doing the latter, you could also play with binding, where you use your left hand to reach hold of your left knee. And you further wrap your right arm behind your waist to maybe slip your right fingers in between your thighs so that your right hand catches hold of the top of your inner left thigh, like a clasp. And again, take a deep breath. Find length throughout your spine. Exhale, hollow your belly. Continue to rotate your chest. Let's take 3 more breaths. At the end of this exhale, gently unwind your spine. Hug your thighs even closer together. You could straighten the bottom leg here. Just make sure your sitting bones are evenly rooted. Then cactus bend your elbows apart. Cross your left elbow over the right. Back to those eagle arms, hugging yourself, hooking your thumbs or wrapping forearms and palms. Slide the shoulders down, lift the heart, breathe in. And then begin to bow forward as you breathe out. Then taking a few breaths. So your body is in eagle pose. And your lower body is in cow face pose. Last 2 breaths. Now with belly firming in, heart space buoyant. Inhale, slowly lift your spine. Unwind your arms and legs, gently shake them out, dance them out. And then keep your right leg forward. Step your left foot either right in front of the hip or just outside your right knee. Or also bend your right knee. Ground the sole of your left foot and your 2 sitting bones. Feel the breath rise up the center of your spine. Backstroke left hand to the floor behind pelvis. Again, right arm up. Exhale, twist to your left. Lower right hand on left knee, or maybe hook right elbow outside of left thigh. right thigh, left thigh. And if you're hooking, you might also catch hold of right knee with left hand. Wow, it's confusing to marry you. And you might even add wrapping left arm around your waist, perhaps reaching for the top of your inner right thigh. You've got options. Breathe in, breathe out. About 3 more. At the bottom of this exhalation, gently unwind your torso and arms, but hug your thighs even closer together for Gomukhasana legs or cat face pose. Cactus bend your elbows apart, this time right elbow over left, hugging in, hooking thumbs, or wrapping forearms and palms for Garudasana, eagle pose. Shoulder blades down, spine tall. Exhale as you forward fold. Now, can you find that principle of rooting down to rise here, or grounding with stability to expand by feeling the weight of your pelvis, as well as the extension of your heart space. Moving forward. 2 more breaths. Now drawing navel in. Again, heart space buoyance. From down to your sitting bones. And inhale, slowly rise. Backstroke your arms. Give your arms and legs and whole body a little celebration dance, because it's almost time for Shavasana. So come onto your back. Take just 1 more minute of your choice of a cooling posture or movement, unless you're right now ready to land in Shavasana. You can get a head start. Some of you might be moving into child's pose or a brief shoulder stand if that's normally what you practice. Maybe some more spinal twisting lying down. Maybe a gentle bridge pose or supported bridge. Give yourself maybe 5 more breaths if you're still in a posture to come out of it gently and set your body up for a restful corpse pose. Closing your eyes as you've landed in stillness, letting go of controlling your breath.
Mic isn't working.
Feel the effect of making a conscious choice to surrender to the divine that resides within and can embrace all polarities of life as a whole. As the poet Rumi wrote, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in the grass, the world is too full to talk about. As we soon open our eyes to the outside world, when can we find moments to put on those divine lens that reminds us that there's a soul beneath those layers of human being? Let's take a deep breath in. Exhaling to clear. And then one more to close, perhaps joining your palms at your heart center as we chant one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.